Most people won't say this out loud, but in South Surrey and White Rock, there are only really 3 neighborhoods where the serious money actually lives. Everywhere else is just close. And that's the problem. It's frighteningly easy to spend a fortune out here and still end up in the wrong neighborhood, close to the good stuff, but never actually in it. So if your goal is to land in one of the truly established areas, the kind that hold their value and their status for decades, then this video is for you. I'm gonna break down the benchmark price in each area and give you an honest, no spin look at the real pros and cons, the good and the stuff that quietly costs you. Like the neighborhood with a rule written right into the titles of the property. They can hit you with a $75,000 bill on your next re-roof. These are neighborhoods where the wealthy actually live. And if that's interesting to you, let's get into it right now. You only get one chance to buy or sell your next home. Let's get it right. Hey, before we kick off, if you're thinking about buying or selling in White Rock or South Surrey, the biggest mistake you can make right now is relying on outdated advice or guessing your next move. The market has shifted, and what worked even 6 months ago could cost you tens of thousands of dollars today. My name is Darren. I'm a real estate professional living and working here in White Rock and South Surrey. And I've been helping families buy and sell in this neighborhood since 2007. Since then, I've worked with hundreds of clients, many of whom found me right here on this YouTube channel because they wanted straight answers, real local insight, and a strategy that actually works. On this channel, I break down exactly what's happening in our market, what to watch out for, and how to make smart decisions so you don't leave any money on the table. So if you want to stay ahead of the market, hit subscribe. And if you're serious about making a move, there's a link below to book a quick call with me or my team. No pressure, just clear advice so you can move forward with confidence. Hey, quick heads up before we start. We're not going to do a deep dive on each of these areas today. We've already got full videos for that right here on this channel with house tours, the perks, and a real feel for what it's like to live there. Today is different. Today is purely the top 3 neighborhoods where the wealthy live and why. So if you're someone hunting for this kind of property, you'll know exactly where to point your attention. So first up, Morgan Creek. If you've ever driven through here, you already know the feeling. Wide streets, oversized homes, set back behind manicured lawns, and a golf course threading right through the middle of it all. This is one of South Surrey's original luxury communities. The whole neighborhood essentially grew up around that golf course, and most of these homes went up around 20 to 25 years ago, which, as you'll see in a minute, is both its biggest strength and its biggest catch. Let's start with why people fall in love with it. The homes here are big, genuinely big, on generous lots, and the entire area is kept immaculate. You're living on or near the golf course, so you get those long green sight lines and a sense of space that you just don't find in newer packed-in developments. And families are drawn here for another reason too. This area feeds into Morgan Creek Elementary, one of the highest rated elementary schools in all of Surrey. Here's something a lot of buyers don't realize though, because these homes were built before BC's recent housing changes. So that means that many of them carry restrictions written right onto the titles of the property. So historically, this neighborhood hasn't been a neighborhood full of basement suites. And because of the charges on these titles, well, as long as everything stands as is today, that's not going to change. This means you don't have rental units all over the place. This means you don't have cars all over the street. And for a lot of buyers paying for that kind of address, that consistency is exactly the point. So what does it cost to get in this neighborhood? Well, the benchmark price in Morgan Creek right now sits around $1.94 million. And honestly, because of the premier homes tucked into this area, that number can still feel low. Now, for the honest part, the stuff that quietly costs you, well, that 25-year age that I mentioned is catching up with some of these homes. And a lot of them are hitting the point where they need real updates, not just cosmetic ones. You already know how this goes. Renovating a 3,500 or a 4,000 square foot house, new kitchen, new bathrooms, all of it. It gets expensive really fast. But the big one here is also the roof. A lot of these properties have a charge on the title, just like the one about the suite we talked about earlier, where they require the roof material to be cedar shake, which means when it comes time to re-roof, you're not picking the budget option here. You're on the hook for one of the most expensive roofs money can buy. And when we're talking about big homes like these, we're also talking about a big re-roofing bill, one that can be 50, 75, even as high as $100,000. $1,000. That's the rule that I teased at the start. And then there's walkability in the community, or really the lack thereof. Morgan Creek is gorgeous to drive through, but it's not your walk to your morning coffee kind of place. And if you've got teenagers, this one matters. Kids can't realistically walk to the secondary school from here. So you're looking at driving or busing, and for some families, that might be a deal breaker. For others, the setting and the space is worth more than that trade. So we've got Morgan Creek covered, and that brings us to community number 2, which is the White Rock Hillside. Now, before we get into that, just a quick heads up. If you're even thinking about buying a home anywhere in BC, you're going to want to grab a copy of our free guide, 18 grants and rebates for home buyers like you. We pulled together every program that we could find, federal, provincial, and even some lesser known local ones, plus links, tips, and simple ways to actually use them. Most of these can be buried, they're confusing, or they're completely missed by buyers. And this could save you thousands of dollars. It's free, and you can download it right now by using the link in the description of this video. All right, so now back to talking about the White Rock Hillside. Now, we're in a completely different world. Forget the golf course. Up here, it all comes down to one thing, and that is the view. These are homes built into the slope above the water, and in White Rock, the view doesn't just add value, it basically sets it. The better, more unobstructed your view and your outlook over Semiahmoo Bay, the more the property is worth. Full stop. The bigger the lot, the bigger the view, the bigger the price tag. And here's the insider detail most buyers have no clue about. On a lot of these streets, the homes on the south side of the streets sit just high enough to look over the homes right in front of them, the homes in front of them, in front of the bay. So they take in everything and they sell for more. Well, why is that? Well, the north side of the streets, the ones that run from east to west, generally they sell for a little bit less. And the big reason is that there's power lines and trees across the street that can clip the view. Same street, same neighborhood, but real differences in price. So if you're shopping up here, which side of the road you're on genuinely matters. So why do people pay a premium to live in White Rock, especially on the hillside? Well, let's start with the obvious. It's the view and the beach sitting right below you. White Rock's also got a reputation for its own little microclimate, that cool ocean breeze in the summer, and locals will swear that they get more sun and less rain than just about anywhere else in the lower mainland. On a hot day with the water right out in front of you, it's pretty hard to argue. Now, the benchmark price in this area is a bit of a moving target. The number for White Rock as a whole sits at about $1.65 million, but the hillside specifically is a little tougher to pin down, and a safer starting point for that area is closer to the $2.5 million mark. And this is a real but. The honest cons in this area are significant. First, it's super hilly. It's beautiful, but steep. This is not a flat stroll the neighborhood kind of place, and that's worth thinking about for the long haul, especially maybe if you're a senior or someone who has mobility challenges. And you can also end up surprisingly far from shops and services in this area, so walking to them on foot, you need to imagine that you're going to be driving more than you'd think. And like our last neighborhood, it's not overly walkable for kids to get to either level of school. Morgan Creek at least had Morgan Creek Elementary, and the high school was a little bit further down the road, but in White Rock, most of the schools are pretty far, especially from the hillside that we're talking about right now. Now, a couple more things specific to White Rock. It's its own city, separate from Surrey, and that can make it more expensive to own it. In the summer, the waterfront gets crazy busy, like really busy, and that energy comes right up the hill. And the housing itself is a real mixed bag. There's not a lot of consistency in this neighborhood like Morgan Creek and the community we're going to talk about next. I want you to think original cottage style homes from decades and decades ago sitting right next to brand new mega mansions that swallow almost the entire lot. For some people, that character is the charm, but for others, it feels inconsistent. That inconsistency can affect how a street feels and how it holds its value over time. And that brings us to number 3 on our list. And honestly, for a lot of buyers, this area is the one. Chantrell, Elgin, and Crescent Park. Now, technically, that's 3 distinct pockets, but they share enough of the same DNA that I'm grouping them together. And together, they fix the single biggest problem with the first 2 areas we talked about. Here's the headline. This is the one place on the list that's genuinely walkable to schools, both elementary and secondary. If you've got kids, you just felt that as I was describing it. No more driving and busing teenagers around. They can actually walk. Now, for families with the budget for this area, that is one feature alone that often lands them in this area. Now, let me break down the 3 pockets because they're not identical. Crescent Park is your privacy play. Bigger lots, more mature trees, more room to breathe. It's the most private of all of the 3. It's a bit of a mixed bag. You're going to find older homes sitting right next to brand new, genuinely incredible large builds. And if your priority is space and security, seclusion, this is where you want to look. Chantrell and Elgin lean a little bit different. This is where you'll find those large, beautifully designed homes, newer, modern, loaded with high-end features and real architectural thought. These are the ones that photograph like a magazine spread. The whole area is gorgeous and, like the rest of the list, kept beautifully manicured. So what do they cost? Well, the benchmark price across these areas sits around the $2.2 million mark. Now, the honest cons, because even the favorite isn't perfect. First, while you can walk to schools, you still can't really walk to shops and services. So it's family walkable, not coffee and errands walkable. Keep that distinction in mind. And second, this one's specific to the high-end homes in Elgin and Chantrell. All those elaborate designs, the dramatic roof lines, the custom features, they're stunning, but when something needs fixing, it's rarely cheap. The more intricate the home, the more intricate and expensive the repair. And that's the quiet cost of buying something that truly is custom. But here's what ties all three of these areas in today's video together. And really, this whole list, every single one of them gives you something spectacular, something unique that you simply can't get anywhere else. And they tend to be quieter, set back from the busy commercial parts of South Surrey and White Rock. That combination of privacy, prestige, and that one special thing, that's exactly why this is where the wealthy actually end up. So there you have it, three areas where the wealthy actually live in South Surrey and White Rock. More expensive, more consistent, and packed with some of the most beautiful, luxurious homes in the whole region. But here's the thing. That's not the whole story, because scattered across South Surrey and White Rock, there are a few secret pockets, the ones where the mega mansions hide. We're talking about mega money, mega lots, mega luxury, the kind of homes most people never even know are back there. And if you want to see exactly where they are and what they actually look like on the inside, the good news is that video is coming up right now. This home behind me is worth more than most people will make in their entire lifetime. And that's because I'm standing in front of the most expensive home in all of White Rock and South Surrey.